Good Packer Nation morning, everybody. Wednesday morning hump day. Tomorrow is the regular season opener as week one, Packers versus Jacksonville, gets ever closer, just one day closer. And you're getting ready to roll on into a weekend here pretty soon with yet another Thursday night football game in between, which is always makes the week better. Jump on right now. Let me know who you are, where you're coming from. And it's time for Packer Nation Roll Call. And yeah, in a couple days, Sunday's coming, and we've got a Packer versus Jacksonville rivalry game coming up. It's going to be a really important way to kick off the season for Green Bay. Russell's here from Connecticut. Grayson is back. Hey, thanks. That's the GPN shirt. You can jump on Facebook and get you one. It helps us out. Eric is here. Adam, Ricky, Drew, and Rick Body is back. Rick, you should have jumped on. I didn't see you after Josh Sitton got cut because I was expecting you to jump on and be like, calm down, dude. It's going to be okay. Jared, good to see you. Nathan, Jeff, Steven, Atreyu. Holy smokes, that's the coolest name ever. Ned, good to see you. He's back on board. All right, good to see you, Ned, Steven, Rick, Marty's in the house. Absolutely. Good to see you, buddy. John, Tim, Wynn Davis back from Tennessee. All right, says go Pack. Brenda, Steve, and Michael. Well, today, it's kind of weird because today, I have no show prep. Normally I actually kind of, at least think through what I'm going to talk about. But the only thing that I really want to talk about right off the bat, and I'm sure that it'll roll into all kinds of other stuff, is this. All right, so you can roll and go to Packers.com and check out the player interviews if you haven't already done that. There's some good ones, but I love how all the defensive players are talking about how Jacksonville, they're fast and man, they've added a lot of players for their defense. They've done this, they've done that, and then they get Mike Daniels on there. And they're asking him about the Jacksonville game, and Mike Daniels is, we just got to go out there and smack him in the mouth. And then, the interviewer's like, well, don't you think that they're planning to do the same thing for you? And he's like, I don't care what they do. We just have to smack them in the mouth. And I absolutely love that. We got Brian from Wyoming, Alec from California. Ryan says, go Pack, go. I love Mike Daniels. If anybody is my man crush, it's Mike Daniels. I absolutely love his attitude, and it's spreading to the Packer defense. We saw a defense at the end of last year, aside from the foibles of the very final defensive series of the year, the one that sort of ended our year. I thought that was a shame because our defense had been a stalwart all year round. Israel says he loves Daniels. Man, the guy's attitude is changing the shape of this defense. Now we get to move Clay Matthews back outside where he belongs. We still have Julius Peppers in there, and it looks like we may have a solution with Martinez to help us out in the middle. Obviously, no Sam Barrington, but Thomas and Ryan still in the mix. And if we have a solution there and we don't have to be messing around with Clay Matthews, just let him play his natural position. I think it's going to be really special. And of course, I've mentioned in the past what I love about the attitude of the front. And we know that Pennell's going to be out. Kenny Clark hasn't had as much playing time as we'd like to see him have with the back injury. But that attitude of smacking somebody in the mouth is something that has slowly developed over the last few years. And I thought long ago that it would be A.J. Hawk, way back when we drafted him number 5 overall. I thought that's what he would bring. Didn't happen. Mike Daniels is always carrying that chip on his shoulder, and I love it. Hey, thanks, Sean. These are the new GPN shirts. We're moving to a very simple logo. Let people know that you're a member of Packer Nation. You can jump on, and there's a Shop Now button on the Facebook fan page. And go ahead and get you one. It helps us out. Honestly, we make about $3. But these are good. These are well-done T-shirts. They're done by a local company, Captivation. We're working with them personally. And so if you like supporting, local sort of small town print shops, this isn't, we've thought about doing a Teespring campaign too and whatnot, but these are the real deal. They're good shirts, and they will last for you. So at any rate, Chris wants the amoeba defense again. I want to see this defense take off against Jacksonville where they left off against the Arizona Cardinals, not the very last series, but every snap before that, where we were playing lights out. Now, if Daniels gets up there and really we do start smacking these guys in the mouth, Clay Matthews is going to have a great time on the outside. Look what that does to what has shown to be in the preseason. Now, again, the regular season is a different beast altogether. But look at how ball hawking our defense was in the preseason. If we can begin to carry that over in Jacksonville when we switch to the regular season, again, it's a different ball game, a different beast. But if we can do that, then we are looking like a team who could have a string and could be a very ball hawking defense in the 2016 season. And that, frankly, should scare the bejeebers out of any offensive coordinators out there. Because wait a minute, in a few weeks, we're going to get Pennell back. And if these young guys we've got on the back end can develop, it's going to be a really scary defense. It could be special. And I think they have the potential to be top 10. If we start taking the ball away, I think we could be, when I say special, I think upper echelon elite defenses in the league. I have friends who play fantasy, even though fantasy is going to be passé once this new game comes out. It's not passé. I mean, people love fantasy. We're going to be doing something different where you don't have to study spreadsheets, and guess what? Your game doesn't end when the live game begins. But I have told people who play fantasy that the Green Bay Packer defense is a good little sleeper pick. A lot of people overlook them. But this year, they could be special. Hector says good morning to everybody. Hey, he says digging the shirt too. Yeah, hey, I appreciate that. I'm liking it. We've been trying to find a solution for the way Facebook mirrors this screen. It's a little bit odd, but we haven't come up with anything yet. And my phone doesn't have anything to automatically do that in the settings. So I almost didn't wear it. But you know what? I thought I'm Packer Nation proud. It says get the ring, which we know it's not this one. No, the precious is precious. But the real ring, of course, is a Super Bowl ring. We are looking forward to all that. And yeah, you can get a t-shirt if you just go to the Facebook site and hit shop now. We can send you one, no problem. So Adam says you got the Packers defense in several leagues. Yeah, and I think they may pay off big time because not many people think of the Packers defense right off the bat. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, it's a big game coming up. But of course, we have to take a minute and talk about, already tomorrow night the regular season begins. Can I get a heart just for, hey, Packer or no, that the regular season is finally here. And that means that there is no more offseason. So heart me if, even though it's the Broncos and the Carolina Panthers, you're going to be watching some football, some regular season football tomorrow night. And I am looking forward to just sitting back and watching football that matters for more than just individual players. And a lot of people, I can tell, we're just happy. I mean, the 2016 season, it's going to be an exciting one. The Packers will be back very soon, but regular season football getting kicked off already. And the wait is finally over, folks. And so I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but one thing we are going to do tomorrow, I am going to do a sort of special live show. We're going to talk more about the new game. We'll talk about the Packers. We'll talk about Jacksonville. We'll probably touch on the Denver Broncos versus the Carolina Panthers. I'll probably make a prediction for that game just for fun. But we are going to be talking about the game for a little bit. So if you want to jump on, we've created an event, and I'm going to be giving you more details because they are now coming out. Because one of the things about the regular season beginning is that now the creators, United Games, can begin the actual beta testing with live games and work out the final bugs before they roll this thing out in October. So that's going to be really cool, and I'm excited about it. And then follow up to that is we are actually going to dump down a video probably in a post where you can see just a tiny glimpse of what this game is going to be like. So I'm really stoked about that. I think you guys are going to have a great time with it. Again, it's not going to be graphic intensive. It's not going to kill your data plan if you have to make your picks while you're out. But it is going to be one-handed. It is going to be fun, and it is going to be super professional, and it looks great. So enjoy that. But let's get back to the Packers versus Jacksonville. I guess what my talk today then is about the defense, and really I'm kind of waiting with bated breath to see if this defense can, in fact, pick up where they left off last year. And I know we've got guys like, we've got Daniels, we've got Matthews and Peppers. In the back, how about a guy named Ha Clinton Dix and even Morgan Burnett, who we haven't seen a lot of? But we've got a lot of stalwart players that are looking to make a splash this year. But then we've got some youth. You know, we got Kenny Clark up front. He's going to be called on for active duty right off the bat. There is no lag time. The regular season is here. Diane's excited for Sunday. Me too. So this is the one thing I want to watch and has this not been the biggest question of the off season? Will the interior of the Packers defense be strong enough to stop the run and force offenses into 3rd and long situations? If we can stop the run and force offenses into 3rd and 4 to 3rd and 6 even, good things are going to start to happen right off the bat. And if our defense picks up where it left off, we all understand that our offense is going to be better, right? And so that's my big question mark, and that's what I'm really going to be focusing on. I've said all along, and again, I almost want to knock on wood to say it, but I've said all along that this offense is going to come back with a vengeance because they're angry about what happened last year because they couldn't deny that they took a step back. We're getting Jordy Nelson back, and they are going to come back with a vengeance. But the defense is a question mark. And here's another question mark if we want to move to the offensive side of the board just for a minute. Elias, Jared Cook, number 1 tight end. They interviewed Jordy Nelson, and he says he feels great. I have this little bit of a twinge of concern about Jordy Nelson having to play his first game in Florida. Is it just me, or have the Packers not done the greatest job? Like every single time we play in Florida, have we not heard something about how it's all about hydration and the heat is the same for those guys it is for us? And then we always have somebody come off who pulls a hammy because they weren't lubed up quite right. They didn't have enough hydration. I got a little bit of a concern, and the reason is not just for hydration, but you get Jordy Nelson out on the field, and I am like everybody else. I'm stoked to see him get on the field. But I am of the mindset right now that Jordy Nelson should be on a bit of a pitch count to get out on the field. Let's kind of see how the game goes. But unless we absolutely need him, I would love to see Jordy Nelson on a pitch count. If you start getting in that heat, you start getting in that humidity, and you start pounding a knee that has not had this kind of mileage on it in a short period of time, it's a recipe for one thing: inflammation. Inflammation is an enemy of an athlete who is returning from an ACL injury. Again, you can go out and your ACL can be fine, but there's stuff that happens. And Rick is down there, by the way, my friend Rick Motti. He is down in Jacksonville, says it's not that bad here. I think they're talking about a 6-degree difference, so that could help out a lot. But I'm actually not even as concerned about the heat as the pounding that Jordy Nelson's knee is going to take. The good thing is it doesn't sound like there was a lot of meniscus damage. Meniscus is the cartilage, the cushion between the joint that's made out of cartilage. It doesn't sound like they had to remove that. If that's in place, his ACL is fine, and they can sort of hopefully work him back into the reps, then I think he's going to be fine as far as inflammation. But if you think back to some of the guys who've had ACLs, MCLs, PCLs, even had just meniscus damage that was cleaned up, one of the things you'll see is they come back and they play fine and they feel fine and their ligament is fine, but they complain of swelling up, right? I'm sure a lot of you out here have heard this story. Player goes back from injury. They play okay, they feel okay. But then something happens, and what are they talking about? Well, there was a little bit of swelling in the knee. So we want to make sure that Jordy Nelson, because again, remember, this is a long, grueling season. And off the top of my head, it might actually help us in the event that Jordy Nelson has any kind of a setback, that week 4, I believe, bye that we have, that I have hated. I hated the idea of a week 4 bye, but right now it's sort of dawning on me that that might help us out just in case. And heaven forbid, knock on wood, that it happens. But if Jordy Nelson has any kind of a glitch, or we have any kind of a hang up where maybe he needs to rest a little bit, that week 4 bye may perhaps become very timely for something like that. So we'll see how it happens. I know that and Vic Ketchman said this too, if you can predict for me when the injuries are going to happen, I can tell you when the best week for the bye is. And I do agree with that, even though I don't agree with some of the things Vic says, but I totally agree with that. If we knew when the injuries were going to happen, we could place the bye exactly where we needed it. We can't do that, okay? Somebody's asking, I'm sorry I missed your name as it came across. They're moving pretty fast. Big Nick says he wants a GPN shirt. If you're talking about the one I'm wearing right now, just go to Facebook and hit shop now, guys. And again, I'm directly sending these to you from my door to yours. It really does help us out. It's part of our way of trying. I'm just a single dad with 3 kids, trying to make a mortgage payment. So my brother too, everybody, we're trying to bring on and pay the guys that we have on staff right now. So yeah, it does help us out. We don't make big bucks off these shirts by any stretch of the imagination. We're giving you a really quality t-shirt, and by the time all is said and done, we're not making a whole bunch of money on it. So, but I do want to get to the question. Somebody asked about Davante Adams and asked for my thoughts, and I'm sure asked for Packer Nation thoughts as well. And it's a great question, and it's one I wish I had a crystal ball to look into. Davante Adams is one of these guys that has every skill set that you could possibly want in a wide receiver in the NFL. That's the reason that, a year back before the season began in 2015, we heard Aaron Rodgers say that he was Pro Bowl potential. And I'm not quoting him, so don't quote me, okay? But the term Pro Bowl came into his vocabulary. That I can quote, right? And then we saw the 2015 season. It was very disappointing. Jared's asking, okay, I'm going to pause because Jared, I wanted to mention this. I actually was going to have a mineral water because I've already gone through my coffee this morning early, and I've been starting to drink my mineral water today, which I'm trying to get more water in my diet, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, I'm all done with the coffee, and I'm feeling okay. I'm nice and awake, so I didn't want to push any more caffeine into my blood. I'm trying to keep my coffee consumption at a constant level, because I tend to go a little crazy with it from time to time. So I would have had my little mineral water because I wanted to show the difference that I didn't have my coffee. But anyway, back to Davante Adams. Last season was a real disappointment. A lot of people just, very angry at the drops. Part of it was, he wasn't available. I'm going to say the one glimmer for me is that Davante Adams seems to be able, in both years, his rookie year and last year, seems to be able to turn it on in the playoffs. I'm not fond of that. He needs to play during the season well also. I like that he's not being handed the keys to the kingdom in terms of third wide receiver slot this time around. He's going to have to go out and earn it. I like that. And here's what I really like about Davante. It has nothing to do with the Davante. It's the fact that because he really didn't go through the open door that was his last year, third wide receiver spot, Jared Abbrederis, and for a time Janis, but also Ty Montgomery, they have really stepped it up, and they have shown they are ready to go out there and catch the ball. Look at the 40-yard pass that Jared Abbrederis caught. Was that against the 49ers or the last game against the Browns? I can't remember now. It was the last game, I think. But we are going to be fine at that position regardless of what happens with Davante Adams, I think. Number one. So that's my number one thought, is we're fine at number 3 wide receiver, and 4 for that matter. I think Davante Adams has the potential to really have a breakout year. Because again, I don't care who you are. He hears all the criticism. And if you are an NFL caliber player, in all likelihood, there is no greater critic of your poor play than yourself, right? No greater critic than yourself. I know Davante Adams has watched that. He had to sit and watch that on film. And he is ready to change it right now. Now, I don't think he had the most fantastic preseason. I thought Abbrederis had a better preseason than him. I thought Abbrederis really took a step up. I'm not sure. Ty Montgomery showed some good things too. I was a little surprised. Both of those guys also are excellent on special teams. Extremely valuable to this team right now. So Davante Adams, if he doesn't have a fire lit under him in the 2016 season, regular season, before the playoffs come around, then there's something wrong upstairs. So I'm on a wait and see approach to Davante Adams. I am not a hater at all because he's got the skill set, and there's nothing really about the guy that I hate. I mean, other than drops. We hate drops by wide receivers. They have focused on that this offseason. If you'll recall, in the early in training camp, or no, it was in OTAs actually, we saw the guys catching bricks and things like this. So they're doing some different things. We'll see if that has an effect on Davante Adams' ability to catch the ball. A lot of people say if you can't catch before you get to the NFL, you can't learn to catch after. However, Davante Adams can catch. He was one of the guys that was making circus catches in training camp, okay? So what we've got is it's a little bit of a muddled picture with this kid, but I have a peaceful, easy feeling, not just because of Davante Adams, but because we've got that group of guys that really look like now they're pushing each other, and I'm very happy to have that. So we'll see what happens, and it's going to be a great opportunity to show his stuff. In the Jacksonville game, look at Jacksonville. We got Jordy Nelson strutting out onto the field. We've already got Randall Cobb. Davante Adams will be out there. We know Jared Abbrederis will probably hit the field. And Ty Montgomery is no slouch either. Look at the defensive backfield of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I have said that we should spread them out early and then run Eddie Lacy down their throat late once we've spread the defense out. This defense, we go trips with Randall Cobb in the back and block it up right. Good things are going to happen. They brought in Prince Amukamara. They have Jalen Ramsey back there. They've got some guys back. And, of course, we know Devon House, Jacksonville Jaguar now. So familiar face, household name for Packer Nation. But you look at those three guys, and you think about the matchup between Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb, and then add to that the pressure caused by either Davante Adams, Jared Abbrederis, or even Ty Montgomery. And let me see a thumbs up if you think things are going to go well for us, if we can stretch the field out and match up. Jacksonville will mix it up. They're going to play some press, they're going to play some off. But again, how important is the quarterback to getting us in the right position? Aaron Rodgers is as good pre-snap as anyone in the business, puts us into the right situation, and then we just get out there and let Jordy and Monty and Abby and Davante do their work. It's time, folks. The regular season is here. To Davante Adams, listen, forget last year. It no longer matters. The only thing that matters to Davante Adams is what is before you in 2016. And the door is wide open for this Packer team, and we are getting ready to roll out an offense that could be the likes of which have never been seen before on planet Earth, folks. I know I'm waxing melodramatic as I sometimes tend to do, but I don't do it without reason, folks. It is possible that this Packers offense that we are rolling off right now could be something the likes of which has not been seen before. Have we even talked about Eddie Lacy and our second James Starks? Have we even talked about the fact that we added Jared Cook to our roster this year? The one question mark, of course, and I'm going a little bit long, so feel free to step off if you have to. I really appreciate your time, and I know that your time is valuable and you have things to do. The one question mark right now, of course, we want to see this offensive line and how it gels with the mix-up that's taken place. New center in J.C. Tretter. And, of course, no more Josh Sitton. This is important. But, again, that plays to my strategy. Let's spread them out. Let our wide receiver core do its work. And then drive Eddie Lacy off the guard and the tackle. And finish this game up in the middle. And at that point, we may get to the point where we can just run this game out. So that's the way I would like to see this game perform. This is exactly the advice I'm going to give Mike McCarthy when he calls me on the phone. Because if Mike McCarthy ever saw me talking about this, he'd be like, "You are so simplistic, dude," Because I don't know this stuff inside and out like him. He knows every single jot and tittle of the offense. And I'm glad he's taken the play calling duties back. I'm also glad that he let Edgar Bennett call the plays during the last preseason game. I thought that was pretty cool. You can tell that Mike McCarthy has concern for the future of his assistant coaches. He understands how hard it is to get there, and he is trying to build resumes for guys that may actually end up exiting the building. And I really just have a lot of respect for that. That's a lot of coaches would just keep their guys close to their vest if they had the chance and keep them at home. So at any rate, Kyle is here. Hey, Kyle, how you doing? Daniel is here. Do I think it's going to be a high-scoring game? Ooh, that's a great question. I know exactly what my answer is to this, but I don't like to say it sometimes. Early on, I was concerned about this game. If the Packers are in good enough condition and the conditioning doesn't hurt us, I think this could be a high-scoring game on our side and a very low-scoring game on theirs. That's what I think. I think the opportunity is there. So that's what I think on that. I do. I hesitate to make that kind of a judgment in an NFL game because we're looking at an NFL that really, parity in the league, and with the salary cap, anybody can beat anybody on any given day. And I look at the moves that Jacksonville has made, and I think they're doing a great job building the defense on that. The only thing I think, it just doesn't seem like the defense has quite gelled just yet. But then you add to that the fact that this defense was out there playing their preseason vanilla stuff. They're going to roll out unscouted looks. They're going to bring their best guys and try to put them in the best places. So again, I hesitate to make that, but I do have this feeling that the opportunity is there for us to score the points to get out to an early lead using the passing game. And of course, we're going to mix some run in, but focusing on the pass game and getting Jordy, getting his feet wet. And then running Eddie Lacy down their throat and just, look at the conditioning aspect can affect the Jacksonville Jaguars too. If we can run Eddie Lacy down and run a hurry-up offense, our sort of muddle huddle offense, and keep the defense on their heels, now we're looking at the possibility of getting penalties. But mostly we're looking at putting a lot of conditioning pressure in a very short period of time on the Jacksonville Jaguars defense. It works both ways. So we'll see if we can pull that off. But I do think, Josh, I think you and I might be on somewhat the same page. I haven't made my final. We're going to do, of course, we will do Prediction Friday because we're back to the regular season, man. Big Nick thinks the first two games are going to be low scoring, and we'll see. Absolutely could be right. Pristo is here. Good to see you, buddy. Well, I'm going to close with that because I've already kind of gone over my general time limit. But yeah, definitely jump on tomorrow night if you want to hear more about the game. If you haven't been invited, one thing I do want to mention, and feel free to jump off if you've already signed up or whatever. But it is very important to sign up early, okay? Because this league is already getting big, okay? We're looking at probably having at least a couple hundred people. I would not be surprised if GPN's league, and this is my goal, at least 1,000 people before the league begins. Now think of the competition there, guys. You all want the precious, right? You want to win. But you want to be able to start getting your points and making your calls as soon as this thing comes out. You don't want to have to come in 2 weeks later and be like, oh, I'm a game behind. Now I got to catch up, okay? Because that could be a problem. Now, one thing we are going to do for that, because there's no way we can control that. The leaderboard is the leaderboard. Whoever's winning is going to be winning. I'm not going to have any control over that. That's an algorithm that takes care of that. Whoever wins, wins. But we are going to add some bonus games. We'll have some Monday night games or some games that aren't Packer games. That we'll do tons of stuff like that for people that if you got in late. No, there isn't anything on the back of the shirt, Sean. It's just this time around. But we'll have different iterations of the shirt too. But if you come in late, like let's say, you don't sign up and then 2 weeks in after the game, maybe it's middle of November and you're like, okay, well, now I'm 2 weeks behind. Now I have to either be super smart. I have to be like prescient to make all the calls right, or I have to just find more and more ways to gain points, which again, we're going to provide for you the best we can, but there's nothing we can do about how the game plays. The winner will be the winner. So now's the time to get in. Susan says she's ready for this. Tomorrow night, you're going to get a chance to see how it works. Again, one-handed. It is graphic, nice graphics, but not heavy and graphic intensive. You can hold it in one hand, still have your drink in the other, and play. All right. Hey, all right. I appreciate that, Sean. Like I say, it does help us. We barely charge over what it costs us. We really pick off about maybe $3 on these and it's a nice heavy quality. It's not going to be thin. They're good shirts and they're locally made. So I do appreciate that. Phil says Blake Bortles scares me. I think Blake Bortles gets sacked 3 times in this game. And I'm going to go 2 picks on top of that. So Oh boy, and I just made that call off the top of my head. So Phil knows how to push the buttons, right? Way to go, Phil. Good to see you, man. Chris is here, 35-17 pack. And again, that's already the same as one that's been called, and that may be seriously close. I'm going to have to think about it a little bit more because I'm and Jeff in there too. I think a lot of us are kind of thinking along the same lines at this point. My hesitation is just that, I like a lot about what Jacksonville's been doing, and I think they have a chance to make a splash. I think that their strength may be, from quarters 2 on out might be really when they begin to sort of really put things together. So that will be big, and I think it may be one of those games that we look back and we say, man, Jay, I'm glad we had Jacksonville the first game of the season. It just worked out better for us. So, hey, John is here saying go Pack. Good to see you, John. And tell your mom and dad hi every time you see him, please, for me. Love those guys from way back. Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin, if there's anybody out there from Chippewa Falls, or Hallie, I guess. Yeah, good times, good memories. So yeah, jump on tomorrow night, and you are now going to get a chance to see just a small bit of what this thing looks like. It looks great. Oh, and the cool thing is, the guy who's going to show it to you is the creator. Like Mark Mongi, he previously worked for EA Sports. This is not an EA Sports game. This is a United Games game. But he is the creative director now here. But he's the guy, when Madden had no foot in the door in the sports game, he came in and he was creative director when they made Madden, NCAA football, and NASCAR. So this guy knows his stuff. This is a little different take because, again, this is made for mobile. So it's going to be slick. It's going to run. It's made to run well and not kill your data plan if you have to do it while you're out. It's one-handed. You do play setup before, just like fantasy, but then when the live game begins, you get to keep playing, keep scoring points. In-app, you smack talk your friends, and the leaderboard tells you exactly where you're at live as you go. It's totally cool, okay? So I'm going to close with that, folks, and I do hope you have a great Wednesday. I hope you'll jump on tomorrow night. It's going to be an exciting night. Like I say, I'm going to jump on live. You can see the event notification at 7:30 Central Time. We'll jump on and make sure and sort of inform you guys. It's going to be informal. It's just going to be me in my house. I maybe walk around and sort of show you the place a little bit, something like that. And just talk about the Packers, talk about the game coming out. And it sounds pretty good. So I am looking forward to tomorrow, but I'll let you go for today. Have a great hump day. The weekend is coming, and football is tomorrow. Remember to get the ring, right? Both of them. Packers going to get a ring, and you can too. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Go Pack.